Robert Pickton was born on the 24th of October 1949 to Leonard Francis Pickton and Louise Helene Arnall, a family of pig farmers in Port Coquitlam. Pickton's older sister, Linda Louise Wright, was sent off to live with relatives in Vancouver as their parents thought that the family pig farm would be an inappropriate setting to raise a young girl. Robert and his younger brother, David Francis Pickton, began working at the farm at an early age, and their mother was very demanding, prioritizing the pigs over the brothers' personal hygiene and forcing them to work long hours raising the farm's livestock. Pickton dropped out of school in 1963 and began working as a meat cutter. He continued to do so for nearly 7 years before leaving to work full-time at the farm. In 1978 and 1979, the parents died, and the siblings inherited the pig farm, selling parts for $5.16 million. Pickton became wealthy by selling parts of his farmland to property developers as the economy of the Lower Mainland grew exponentially in the 1980s. He often hosted parties at an ad hoc nightclub called Piggy's Palace. Women living in the Lower Mainland, most notably on the impoverished downtown east side of Vancouver, had started to go missing, leading to speculation in the media that a serial killer was operating. The majority of the missing women were First Nations, drug addicts, and prostitutes. On the 23rd of March 1997, Pickton was charged with the attempted murder of sex worker Wendy Lynn Eistetter, whom he had stabbed several times during an altercation at the farm. Pickton was released on $2,000 bond, and the attempted murder charge against him was stayed on the 27th of January 1998 because Eistetter had drug addiction issues, and prosecutors believed her too unstable for her testimony to help secure a conviction. David was convicted of sexual assault in 1992, being fined $1,000 and given 30 days probation. In that case, the victim told police that David had attacked her in his trailer at the pig farm, but she managed to escape. Robert had also been sued 3 times for traffic offenses in 1988 and 1991, settling all 3 claims out of court. The Pickton brothers were eventually sued by Port Coquitlam officials for violating zoning ordinances, neglecting the agriculture for which it had been zoned, and having altered a large farm building on the land for the purpose of holding dances, concerts, and other recreations. Events included raves and wild parties, featuring Vancouver sex workers, and gatherings in a converted slaughterhouse on the farm at 953 Dominion Avenue in Port Coquitlam. These events attracted as many as 2,000 people, and members of the Hells Angels were known to frequent the farm. Subsequently, the Pickton brothers ignored growing legal pressure and held a 1,998 New Year's Eve party, after which they were faced with an injunction banning future parties. An employee of Pickton found several purses belonging to the missing women from the downtown east side and reported Pickton to the police. The police conducted 3 searches of the farm, but found no evidence. In June 1999, the police received a tip that Pickton had a freezer full of human flesh in his farmhouse, which the police ignored. On the 6th of February 2002, police executed a search warrant for illegal firearms at the Pickton property. Both Pickton brothers were arrested, and police obtained a second warrant using what they had seen on the property to search the farm as part of the BC Missing Women investigation. Personal items belonging to missing women were found at the farm, which was sealed off by members of the joint RCMP Vancouver Police Department task force. The following day, Pickton was charged with weapons offenses. Both Picktons were later released, and Robert was kept under police surveillance. On the 22nd of February 2002, Robert Pickton was arrested again and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Serena Abotsway and Mona Wilson. On April 2, 3 more charges were added for the murders of Jacqueline McDonnell, Diane Rock, and Heather Bottomley. A 6th, for the murder of Andrea Josbury, was laid on April 9, followed shortly by a 7th for Brenda Wolfe. On September 20, 4 more were added for Georgina Papin, Patricia Johnson, Helen Hallmark, and Jennifer Furminger. Another 4 for Heather Chinnock, Tanya Holick, Sherry Irving, and Inga Hall were laid on October 3. On the 10th of March 2004, the government revealed that Pickton may have ground up human flesh and mixed it with pork that he sold to the public. The province's health authority later issued a warning. Another claim was made that he fed the bodies directly to his pigs. Robert Pickton's trial began on the 30th of January 2006 in New Westminster, where he pleaded not guilty to 27 charges of first-degree murder. The voir dire phase, which lasted most of the year, determined what evidence could be admitted In March, one count was rejected due to insufficient evidence. By August, Justice James Williams severed the charges into two groups, 6 counts and 20. Included a loaded .22 revolver with a dildo over the barrel, night vision goggles, faux fur-lined handcuffs, and a syringe with blue liquid. A videotape revealed Pickton's disturbing statements about killing female addicts. In December 2007, the jury acquitted him on 6 counts of first-degree murder, but found him guilty on 6 counts of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 25 years. On the 7th of January 2008, the Attorney General of British Columbia appealed Robert Pickton's acquittals on first-degree murder charges, citing errors in evidentiary rulings and jury instructions. Despite his acquittals, Pickton was convicted of second-degree murder and received a sentence equivalent to that for first-degree murder. The appeal raised concerns among victims' families, particularly over potential jeopardy to the convictions. Attorney General Wally Oppel apologized for not briefing the families prior to the public announcement. The defense also filed an appeal on the 9th of January 2008, seeking a new trial for 6 counts of second-degree murder. They alleged multiple errors by the trial judge, including issues with jury instructions and handling of evidence. On the 19th of May 2024, Pickton was attacked by another prisoner at the Port Cartier institution in Quebec. The prisoner, Martin Charez, described as having a history of assaulting other prisoners, speared Pickton in the head with a broken broom-like handle. Pickton was airlifted to a hospital and put on life support. He died at a hospital in Quebec City from complications of the attack on May 31.